Link TV, connecting you to the world. Link TV is viewer supported. Watch more at linktv.org.
Link TV presents Mosaic World News from the Middle East. Here are today's top stories.
Iraq's secret prison inmates allege horrific torture. Egypt convicts 26 of spying for Hezbollah. And will Mahmoud Abbas meet with Benjamin Netanyahu anytime soon? Mosaic World News from the Middle East begins now.
روى أحد المعتقلين السابقين في سجن المثنى في بغداد.
One of the former prisoners that was held in Al-Muthanna prison in Baghdad told BBC that hundreds of detainees were subjected to all kinds of torture in secret cells inside Iraqi prisons several weeks ago. This incident was first broken by the American Los Angeles Times, which reported that a secret prison managed by a military unit was linked to the office of the Iraqi Prime Minister Nouri Al Maliki. This has compelled the Iraqi government to open an investigation into these allegations.
Hundreds of Iraqi detainees are held behind this iron gate of Al-Muthanna prison in Baghdad. The name of this prison took central stage again after news reports indicated that hundreds of detainees inside it were subjected to all kinds of torture for several months. Among the tortured detainees is this Iraqi, who also has British citizenship. The BBC talked with a former prisoner who was held inside this prison. The man did not want his identity to be disclosed because he was afraid of retaliation, but his statements confirm reports by Human Rights Watch pertaining to torture in secret cells of Al-Muthanna prison.
The torture started after they covered our heads with plastic bags. They tortured us using electric wires. They poured water on our bodies and then subjected our bodies and private parts to electric current. They threatened that they will rape our mothers, daughters, and wives in front of us if we do not confess.
The Iraqi British detainee was transported to a regular cell along with 300 other detainees who are now believed to be receiving relatively good treatment. The Iraqi government denied that the Iraqi prisoners were subjected to torture inside prisons and said that there are no secret prisons. However, Human Rights Watch said that the torture happens routinely and regularly inside Iraqi prisons. These latest allegations of torture at Al-Muthanna prison bring back memories of other torture incidents, most notably the ones that took place inside Abu Ghraib prison.
أصدر مكتب رئيس الوزراء المنتهية ولايته نوري المالكي أمرا حكوميا.
Prime Minister Nouri Al Maliki, whose term in office has expired, issued an order to replace the former director of Iraq's prisons, Sharif al-Murtada, who fled after the scandal broke of torture and human rights violations in secret Iraqi prisons in Baghdad and a number of Iraqi cities.
في بغداد وعدد من مدن العراق وكان مدير السجون في العراق المدعو الشريف المرتضى.
These prisons were linked to the office of the Prime Minister Nouri Al Maliki.
منظمات إجراء تحقيقات عن الانتهاكات في السجون السرية والنظامية بعد الكشف عن سجون.
According to judicial sources, no one knows the whereabouts of Al-Murtada and the government did not provide any information about him.
التي لجأ إليها مدير السجون العام كما لم تقدم الحكومة أي معلومات عنه. من جهته قال القيادي في الائتلاف الوطني العراقي عن التيار الصدري بهاء العرجي.
Meanwhile, Baha al-Araji, a member of the National Iraqi Alliance and a Sadrist member of parliament, said that Sharif al-Murtada, who escaped to an unknown location, was fired 3 times by the justice minister due to his actions, which included violating detainees' human rights and torturing them. However, Prime Minister Nouri Al Maliki refused to fire him and insisted that he stay in his post despite his refusal to release hundreds of prisoners that were ordered to be freed by Iraqi courts.
المعتقلين الذين أمر القضاء بإطلاق سراحهم.
For many years, we have warned the Iraqi government about this man's actions, which did not suit the position he carried. He was a source of concern to all detainees because he was doing bad things. I was puzzled because he was fired from his post as the General Director of Iraqi prisons by the Justice Minister 3 times, and each time the Prime Minister Nouri Al Maliki insisted that he stay on. This happened despite the fact that the Justice Minister and other officials in the Justice Ministry have reiterated on many occasions that this man has caused harm to many Iraqi detainees.
بدون مبالغة وأنا مسؤول عن كلامي مئات من المعتقلين قد أفرج القضاء عنهم
I take responsibility for what I'm saying. Iraqi courts have freed hundreds of detainees, but they are still held in prison until today in these detention centers. This happened due to the policies of Sharif al-Murtada, who fled. Of course, there were complaints about this man, but the Prime Minister's office insisted that he remain in his post. If it wasn't for what happened recently, the Prime Minister would not have let him go. The situation has been exposed, and the people have started to learn that these problems are widespread. Some officials wanted to distance themselves from this scandal by blaming Sharif al-Murtada for what happened. In fact, he deserved what is happening to him because he caused harm to many Iraqis. Let us go back to the scandal that broke a few days ago. Some of the 436 detainees in Mosul may be responsible for criminal activities, but many of them are innocent. Is it reasonable to justify the imprisonment of 436 detainees based on information provided by one informant only? What kind of brain does this informant have? How can he remember the names of 436 people, their addresses, and crimes?
Amidst the heated debate fueled by the decision of an Iraqi election review panel to disqualify 52 winning candidates from Iraq's March parliamentary elections, Washington has broken its silence. U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton demanded Iraqi officials to come to a consensus and respect the election process.
It was a series of decisions that produced mixed reactions among the various political blocs in Iraq. They were the latest decisions of the Iraqi Judicial Review Panel to disqualify dozens of winning and defeated candidates from the March parliamentary elections. The review panel based its decision on the recommendations of the Justice and Accountability Commission.
The position of the Iraqi coalition is clear. We will pursue the case through legal channels. We will definitely contest the decision. The Iraqi list is confident that all allegations cited against its candidates are unfounded. We expect a positive end to this case in favor of our alliance.
The charges are not grounds for disqualification. The decision will delay the political process, and it will have a negative impact on the overall situation. It will also lead to rigidity in position and to extremism.
Where will the votes in favor of the disqualified candidates go? And will they affect the number of seats won by other blocs? If the disqualified were from the list of defeated candidates, then the dismissal will not change the outcome, as they were already outside the competition ring. However, if the disqualified were among the winning candidates, then their dismissal will have a direct impact on the overall election results. This in turn will result in losses incurred by their coalition, especially in their home districts. If the votes won by the disqualified candidate are few, then it will not affect the election results in their home provinces. However, if the number of disqualified votes is high, then it will affect the election results in the provinces of representation. Consequently, the outcome will alter election results, especially in the provinces where the disqualification has taken place. The disqualified lists may lose a seat or more in favor of rival lists competing in the same provinces. The disqualified candidates may file an appeal with the Accountability and Justice Commission, which will submit a request to the election review panel of the Supreme Judiciary Council.
The election review panel called on the electoral districts to notify the candidates in question. The disqualified candidates have the right to appeal within a month from the date of the review board's decision.
Every time the political blocs are getting closer to forming alliances that will lead to the next government, a new twist develops, taking the negotiations back to the starting point, which, once again, is delaying the political process. From Baghdad, Muntada Rashid, Al Arabiya.
أقر جيش الاحتلال الأمريكي اليوم بمقتل أحد جنوده بحادث زعم أنه غير قتالي.
The U.S. occupation army has reported the death of an American soldier in the capital Baghdad in an incident that the army claimed to be non-combatant. 6 American soldiers have been killed in April so far. The occupation army claimed in a document that the soldier has died on Thursday from injuries not related to combat, without giving additional details. It is worth mentioning that the number of American soldiers killed in Iraq since the U.S. invasion more than 7 years ago has reached 4,393, according to statistics released by the U.S. Pentagon.
بحسب ادعاءات وزارة الدفاع الأمريكية البنتاغون، بينما تشير مؤسسات وهيئات أمريكية من بين.
However, U.S. organizations and institutions, including the U.S. Veterans Association's website, indicate that the number of deaths of the U.S. occupation army exceed 33,000.
هذا وقد تواصلت على مدار الأسبوع المنقضي عمليات.
Meanwhile, the Iraqi resistance continued last week to inflict massive human and material losses on the U.S. occupation forces.
عمليات المقاومة العراقية لن تتوقف ما دام هناك جندي للاحتلال على أرض رافدين.
The Iraqi resistance will not stop as long as there is one American occupation soldier on the land of the country of the two rivers. Last week, the resistance continued its operations that inflicted huge human and material losses on the occupation. The U.S. Army announced the death of one of its soldiers and 3 more were injured after their helicopter crashed in the Tadariya region west of Tikrit, capital of Salahuddin province. An American soldier was shot dead by snipers in the Katana region in Ramadi city, capital of Al-Anbar province. Witnesses mentioned that the soldier was on the watchtower of a military base belonging to the occupation when a sniper shot him down. They said that the occupation soldiers hurried to the watchtower and evacuated it amidst heightened security measures in fear of being attacked again. The resistance continues, and a legitimate organization called Jamaat Ansar al-Sunnah group detonated explosive devices near a Hummer belonging to the occupation forces in northwestern Baghdad and destroyed it.
وفي إطار غزوة ثأر للأسرى الأسود في القيود تبنى جيش الفاتحين.
In an operation to rescue the brave prisoners kept in chains by the occupation, the Fatihin army detonated explosive devices in the Al-Anbar province and killed members of the U.S. occupation forces there. The Tabayin army, an organization in the United Committee for Authorized Factions, destroyed 2 pieces of equipment belonging to the U.S. occupation forces in southern Baghdad. Meanwhile, 2 explosive devices consecutively targeted the U.S. occupation forces in the Qadra neighborhood in western Baghdad. As usual, the occupation forces did not reveal the size of their losses in these attacks. An explosive device was detonated, targeting a truck belonging to the U.S. occupation forces while it was transporting oil products in Abu Ghraib, west of Baghdad, and burned it completely. The occupation forces cordoned off the area and closed off the highway and prevented the civil fire department from putting out the fire that was burning in the truck. In addition to that, the Iraqi resistance managed to destroy a piece of equipment belonging to the occupation by detonating explosive devices, targeting a patrol in Diwaniyah city, the capital of the Al-Qadisiyah province, killing and wounding everyone inside. These operations uncovered the existence of the occupation forces inside the cities, contradicting the claims that they had withdrawn according to the compliance agreement.
The Egyptian Supreme State Security Court in Cairo has sentenced 3 suspects in a case that has become known as the Hezbollah cell to life in prison. Among the accused is the cell's leader, Mohammed Qablan, who remains at large.
The court also sentenced 3 suspects, including Sami Shihab, to 15 years in prison. 15 others also received 10-year prison sentences. In addition, the court sentenced 4 other suspects to prison terms, ranging between 6 months and 11 years. Meanwhile, the defense team described the sentences as harsh.
The Egyptian prosecutor has demanded the death penalty for the accused who are being described by Egypt as members of the so-called Hezbollah cell. Instead, the court sentenced some of the suspects to prison terms ranging between 6 months and 15 years. It also sentenced 3 others, including Lebanese national Mohammed Qablan, the cell's leader, to life in prison. Qablan, who remains at large, was sentenced in absentia to life in prison.
First, the court hereby sentences Mohammed Qablan, Sami Muayyad Hamdan, and Midhat Sayed Hassanin to life in prison. Second, the court sentences Mohammed Yusuf Ahmed Mansour, also known as Sami Shihab, Nasser Khalil Muammar Abu Ammar, Nimr Fahmi Mohammed Nimr Tawil to 15 years in prison.
المدانون هم لبنانيان وخمسة فلسطينيين وسودانيين.
The accused are 2 Lebanese, 5 Palestinians, a Sudanese, and 18 Egyptians. They were indicted on charges of conspiring with Hezbollah to attack foreign tourists in Egypt, bomb ships in the Suez Canal, and build tunnels to smuggle goods and weapons to the Gaza Strip. The accused confirmed that they had no plans to hit targets in Egypt or disrupt the country's security. All they wanted was to support the Palestinian resistance. The trials of the suspects have agitated the thorny relations between Egypt and Hezbollah. Observers believe that the verdicts will further fuel the crisis between the two sides. Nearly 2 years ago, and amidst the Israeli destructive war on Gaza, Hezbollah's Secretary General Hassan Nasrallah accused Egypt of complicity in what he referred to as Israel's crimes in Gaza. This news comes after Egypt refused to open the Gaza border crossings. In response, Egypt accused Nasrallah of seeking to stir chaos in the region on behalf of others, in indirect reference to Iran. The Hezbollah case is deep in tension between Egypt and Iran, which supports Hezbollah. Egyptian Foreign Minister Ahmed Abul Gheit accused Tehran of using Hezbollah to establish a presence on the Egyptian territories.
Has a building freeze been imposed on Jerusalem or not? The answer certainly depends on whom you ask, and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is adamant that there is no freeze, but many believe that those are just empty words meant to placate his right-wing coalition. IBA's Eli Wogelenter has more in this report.
The visit last month by U.S. Vice President Joe Biden and the ensuing flap over the announcement of building permits for construction in Ramat Shlomo continues to reverberate. Publicly and officially, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has rejected President Barack Obama's demand that Jews stop building in parts of Jerusalem claimed by the Palestinians. There will be no freeze in Jerusalem, Netanyahu is saying here, and his chief critic within the Likud MKs, Danny Danon, says Netanyahu has assured him there is no freeze, but that we'll know for sure within a few weeks.
I have asked the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu regarding the building in Jerusalem, and he told me specifically that we will continue to build in all parts of Jerusalem, and there is no restrictions on any committee within the municipality. With few weeks' time, we can tell whether there is a freeze de facto or not. If there is a freeze, the current coalition will not allow such a freeze.
According to one Jerusalem municipal official from Meretz, the committees that deal with building projects are not even meeting anymore.
After Biden visit here, the instructions from the Prime Minister's office was to stop any plans of construction of Jewish construction in East Jerusalem. De facto, on the ground, they stop demolitions and they stop to bring plans to the local and regional committee.
Some believe the unofficial freeze was worked out between Netanyahu and Obama as a means of placating the Americans while publicly maintaining Israel's original position. But the Palestinians have also made clear that facts on the ground are what will determine the future negotiations.
We haven't heard anything official from anybody. And what counts for us are the deeds and not the words. We really hope that the Israeli government, when given the choice between settlements or peace, they will choose peace.
An Interior Ministry spokeswoman said, quote, "There is no freeze, there is bureaucracy." Eli Wogelenter, IBA News.
Joining us now from our Tel Aviv studio to discuss developments in the Israeli-Palestinian peace process is Dr. Mordechai Kedar of Bar-Ilan University's Begin Sadat Center for Strategic Studies. Dr. Kedar, good evening.
Good evening.
Now, we heard today that Palestinian negotiator Saeb Erekat said that he is ready to begin proximity talks on the basis of a tacit agreement that Israel refrained from building in East Jerusalem. What do you make of Erekat's statement?
Well, they realized that the month of tension between the White House and Netanyahu Bureau didn't really do anything because Netanyahu keeps declaring that building in Jerusalem will continue in spite of the fact that Obama doesn't like it. And the Palestinians understood that there's a limit to which the Americans can press on Jerusalem. Add to this the fact that the Senate and the Congress are vociferously with Netanyahu's government about Jerusalem. Add to this the letters in the American press published by Elie Wiesel, Ron Lauder, and many others. So they understand that there is a limit to which they can squeeze this lemon of stopping the issue in Jerusalem, the building in Jerusalem, and to regain anything in Jerusalem. So unfortunately, in their side, they decided to go forward with Israel as it is, in spite of the fact that they do not like neither Netanyahu nor his government.
Having said that, Dr. Kedar, if in fact the proximity talks are launched, do you believe that there's any chance that they will lead to any real progress between the two sides?
I think that both sides are posing in front of the Americans. Everyone wants to show that he is the good side, the good guy, and the others are the bad guys. I personally don't believe that indirect talks can come out with something more than direct talks, which failed so far to continue with the negotiations, especially with Netanyahu government, which never sat with those Palestinians who refused to sit with such right-wing government. But the Palestinians today understand that if they do not go forward, the world will go forward without them, because they see that Hamas take the lead in the Palestinian Authority. They already hear the voices in the Islamic world that other nations should take Jerusalem under their custody, like Morocco or Iran or Turkey. And there is such a discourse today in the Islamic world. And they see that the Palestinians, like in the Arab sector in Israel, 40 leaders of the Arab sector in Israel, who are also Palestinians, are going to Gaddafi without passing through Ramallah. So those in Ramallah, Abu Mazen and his gang, are rather afraid that the whole thing, the Palestinian issue, will run away from their own hands if they don't go somewhere with the government of Israel, which they, of course, do not like.
Okay, Dr. Mordechai Kedar of the Besa Center, thank you for being our guest this evening.
My pleasure.
In the occupied territories, Israelis and Palestinians continue to welcome each other's ambiguous overtures. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas welcomed Netanyahu's settlement freeze in East Jerusalem, although this was not confirmed by the Israeli government. In response, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu welcomed Abbas's willingness to return to the negotiation table, although he did not express this position clearly in his latest interview on the Israeli channel 2. Abbas linked returning to the negotiations with the settlement freeze in Jerusalem and the rest of the occupied territories. Meanwhile, Netanyahu announced that he will meet with the Egyptian President Hosni Mubarak next Monday.
For one whole year, my friends and I have been calling for the return to negotiations without preconditions. I was relieved to hear the President of the Palestinian Authority express his willingness to resume the negotiations. I will be very happy if we can translate this willingness into reality next week. In any case, I will travel next Monday to Egypt to meet with President Mubarak, who made serious efforts to resume the peace process.
في مصر أحالت محكمة القضاء الإداري دعوى مسلم.
An Egyptian court transferred the case of a Muslim man who converted to Christianity to the Constitutional Court. The man demanded that his new faith be listed in his official documents. Muhammad Hijazi converted to Christianity 3 years ago and called himself Bishoy, which created a great deal of controversy. More details with Omar Abdel Hamid from Cairo.
In a country like Egypt, where religion dominates citizens' lives regardless if they are Muslims or Christians, religious conversions get a great deal of attention. The Egyptian society in general refuses religious conversions in principle, not to mention the legal issues that face converts and their families.
Mohammed Ahmed Abdul Hijazi, the court decided to suspend the sentence based on constitutional articles 92 and 32.
Muhammad Hijazi, the Muslim man who converted to Christianity and called himself Bishoy, is waiting for his day in the Constitutional Court. Muhammad, or Bishoy, maintains a low profile for security reasons. However, he continues his journey from one court to the other so his new faith can be listed in his official documents.
Transferring the case to the Constitutional Court is an attempt to waste more time because they do not want to look into the fact that this is my natural right. They do not want to see that what is happening is clear discrimination. They have double standards in the way that they deal with a Christian who converts to Islam and a Muslim who converts to Christianity.
The problem for Muhammad or Bishoy is that the Sharia law considers him as an apostate, which is punishable by death.
He's playing with religion. How can we leave him alone? Everyone who converts must be punished as an apostate. Whoever converts to Islam or was born as a Muslim must remain Muslim forever. If he does not, then he'll be punished, just like a thief or someone who commits adultery. He is an apostate.
He must repent. Does he have 3 days to repent? Or does he have his lifetime to repent? This must be resolved through the judiciary system. However, even if he is sentenced to death, God forbid, who will implement this sentence? It is very important for our young people to know this information. No one can take on the responsibility of implementing a sentence against anyone, even if the entire nation agrees that this person should be sentenced to death.
Another problem pertaining to religious conversions is embodied in what is happening to the husband of Camelia, who converted from Christianity to Islam. His conversion has impacted his sons, Andrew and Mario, because they are no longer recognized as Christians. According to Egyptian law, they are Muslims because they follow their father's religion.
The judicial system is fueling a very big religious strife. The issue is very simple. Whoever wants to convert to Islam or other faiths, let him be. When my husband wanted to convert to Islam, no one told him that he couldn't, and no one was angered by his decision from our side.
Camelia told us about her story with the Egyptian courts. Andrew also talked about his problems with religious education at schools.
Since we were in the 7th grade, we were told that we have to learn Islam. We did not have to go to religion classes, but we had to take the tests, and we were told that we must identify ourselves as Muslims. I wrote that I'm Christian, and he wrote that his mother is Christian.
Camelia and her 2 sons can only wait. Omar Abdul Hamid, BBC, Cairo.
The views expressed on Mosaic are from contributing broadcasters, not Link TV or its sponsors. The production of Mosaic is made possible from support of viewers like you. Thank you. Watch Mosaic World News online, stay up to date with breaking news, read our blog, get transcripts of past shows and more at linktv.org/mosaic.
This program is brought to you by Link TV for educational and non-commercial use only. Link TV is the only U.S. network dedicated to global and national news, uncompromising documentaries, and diverse cultural programs. Programs which connect you to the world.